Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Marc.antomattei here with Gentleman Masterclass. You know what it is. Looking good, feeling good, smelling good, and I make love good too. Check me out, looking outstanding. Rolex on the wrist, Explorer 2. Today is the day. This is a video that you guys didn't even know that you were waiting on, but trust me, you were definitely waiting on it. Today's episode, I'm showing off the collection, the watch collection that is, and I'm going to be putting them on the Timegrapher. Good story coming up, but before we get that started, got the whiskey glass here. Since I'm feeling like Sean Connery, feeling like James Bond, why don't I pour his only sponsored Scotch whiskey, the Dewar's, aged 12 years. Pour a dram of this real quick, and we're going to get into it. This one is 40% ABV, good taste, good smell, good price. Good price. Man, I can't believe I made it all the way halfway down the bottle of this one. This unbelievable. I didn't realize I was consuming it that fast, but apparently I am. Cheers. Kampai to all my people out there. Nice and sweet and mellow. Yeah, we're going to have this one on deck. Keep it on the side because I'm going to be sipping on this throughout. So, I got about 5 watches that I'm going to throw on the Timegrapher. First of all, shout out to my sponsor of this video, Mr. Tim Remington, aka, as I like to call him, Remington Steel. He's the sponsor of this video because he's the one that provided me with the Weishi number 1000. Quick story behind this. I bought one of my own off of eBay, but I didn't buy the 1000 base model. I bought the 1900 model, which is the step up from this. It can read coaxial movements a little bit more accurate. It has the nice big full color screen and all of that, and it's easier to tell the lines apart from one another. It's just better, but it costs about $100 more. But I found one that was only $50 more than the 1000. Such a good deal. It was brand new. I bought it. All of these Weishis come from China. It doesn't matter which model that you buy. They're all going to come from China. So I bought one from China. I waited 2 months for this thing. The 3-month mark was the absolute deadline of when I was expecting the delivery. Once 3 months rolled by and it did not come, I demanded my money back immediately with PayPal, in which PayPal honored it. And they refunded me immediately. And I just didn't go back out there and order another one of these because I did not want to wait another 2 to 3 months to just wait around for one of these. So I asked my friend Mr. Remington Steel, listen, I don't like to ask for much. I don't like to borrow things from people, but could you please let me borrow this? I just want to use it one time on all of my watches, get the readouts on all of them, and then I'm going to bring it right back to you. If I don't return it to you in the condition that I got it from you in, I buy it from you completely. Or I just buy you a whole new one. So, I got the Weishi 1000 on deck. This is the multifunction Timegrapher. I got my 4 watches plus a bonus watch that you guys are gonna completely laugh at. And I printed up this damn thing right here off of the internet. This is the Weishi multifunction Timegrapher number 1000 user manual. You go through this English manual, and that English is all kinds of tore up inside of here. But for the most part, you understand what it is that they're trying to convey, the message that they're trying to get across to you. So, I got the Rolex on the wrist. We'll time this one last. Let's get to it. Let's go ahead and I'm going to flip the camera around, get everything set up so that you're looking at it from my perspective. And I'm pretty much only going to throw the watches on here on the standard angle, but really I should be timing it in 5 different, you know, you could flip this thing and rotate it around in so many different directions. You know, you should be trying to get all directions, but just for the sake of the video, I'm just going to get it in the standard base wrist upright, you know, direction, and I'm going to time it using that. And then off camera, I suppose I can get all these other readouts for myself, just for my own FYI sort of thing. But I'm talking your heads off. Let's go ahead, flip that camera around. Let's get started. So before we even turn on this machine and can use it, the first thing that we have to do is we have to wind our watches all the way up to the max for the best readout. So unfortunately, it's something that I have to do. The 2 watches that I have here inside of my hands are both of my Gruens. These are both Gruen Precision 510s. Inside of my right hand, I have the Gruen Precision 510 17 jewel Starburst. This is the James Bond model. Cost me about $2,000 exactly, approximately, something like that. But this one has the sub-seconds dial, and it has the 3, 6, 9, 12 on the dial there in gold. And then inside of my left hand, another 510 Gruen, and this one has a masonry dial on there. So we're going to do the masonry dial one first, but before we throw it on there, first thing is we have to charge it. So let's wind this up. This one shouldn't take that long. The power reserve inside of this is not that much. Being a watch that's over 50 years old, over 60 years old actually, about 60, yeah. Let's charge this up. You know when it's done because this one is just going to stop, and it's your indication not to turn it anymore, which it has just reached that mark. So let's go ahead and turn on the Timegrapher. I think I'm going to have to do all these settings again. I don't think it just saves as is. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to hit the menu button. For these old watches like this that are vintage, nobody knows what the lift angle is, which is a special code that you need for every single watch that you throw on here. But because nobody knows the code for these Gruens, it's best just to, I would say in the range between 48 and 52 is going to be generally all right as a lift angle to choose for the vintage watches. And I already know the beats per hour on these, or the vibrations per hour, is going to be 18,000, sorry, excuse me, 18,000. So let's just go ahead. Well, we can leave the beat rate on auto because it's definitely going to find that by itself. But we're going to go down here to the lift angle, and let's change this to 50, which I think is a good number for vintage. And because we want the best readout possible, instead of just doing a test period of 12 seconds, we're going to do a test period of the maximum 60 seconds. Keep the language in English, and we're going to put it on this microphone here. Let's go ahead and pull this back. Throw the watch on here. And let's hit the start button. Just give it a moment. As you guys can see, it's ticking away. Now we got to let it go for some time now. About 60 seconds to get the best readout. this Gruen with the masonry dial runs better than my James Bond watch in terms of accuracy per day. So yeah, this is reading out correctly. This one is generally 17 seconds per day, but with that 17 seconds per day on this old vintage watch that's 60 years old, it has a beat error of 3.2. Now that's outside the margin of error. A good margin of error would be 1 or below. But as you can see, this is 3.2. So that might be an indication that something could be potentially wrong with this watch. I had just got this watch service this year, and I picked it up out of that service about 4 or 5 months ago. And here it is doing this with a 3.1 beat error. So it says plus 19 over here underneath that beat error. And now you see the rate is running at 15 seconds. But this one is generally 16 or 17 seconds per day. So now that we know what this is, I'm just going to leave that running at the moment. I got the James Bond watch here. As you can see, this one has no charge left inside of it. So we have to wind this one all the way up to max. But trust me, it's not going to take that long. Winds quite easy. So if I recall, the last time that I tested these, which was about 2 weeks ago on full charges, the James Bond watch I think is going to run twice as fast as the masonry dial one, but the beat error is going to be within the margin of error, meaning that there's no trouble with the mechanics or anything inside of this watch. I had both of these watches serviced at the exact same time. I just dropped them off at the same time, but picked them up maybe the James Bond one 1 month after this one here. You can see that this is still running at plus 17 seconds a day, and the beat error is still about 3.1, and I was saying 3.3, but it's about 3.1. So we could go ahead and take this off. Since it's the exact same movement inside, we don't have to change anything. All we got to do is just throw the watch up here. And let's just let it read out. Again, I got it set to 60 seconds, which is the max time. We're just going to let that time run up to get the accurate reading. It still looks as it did 2 weeks ago when I tried it out for the first time. Once it reaches the end here, that's going to be 60 seconds, I believe. And we've hit our mark. The readout on this one, it's plus 32 seconds a day, meaning that it's twice as fast as the masonry dial one, the James Bond one is. But if you take a look over here at the beat error, it's 0.0 milliseconds, meaning that there is no errors with this watch whatsoever. So this is a complete accurate reading. I trust whatever it is that has been done to this watch, but the previous watch that I had up here, because it's showing me that 3.2 seconds on this one right here, I think I'm getting ready to take this one back along with my receipt to the place that I had it serviced at and have it looked at again. Both of these watches run at 18,000 beats per hour, which is pretty good. The sub-second hands on both of them doesn't run completely smooth like a high beat watch, but it means that it's going to need less servicing. The next watch up is the Omega Speedmaster Professional. As you can see, I have it on the moon strap here. This is the same strap that you would get on your moon swatch, but only this one has the metal buckle, and it has the NASA logo there, and it has Speedmaster Moonwatch written here, and it has Omega on the backhand side of that. But love it. We have to wind this one all the way up, which takes quite some time. The settings for this is a lot different from the Gruen watches. Whereas the Gruen watches were running at 18,000 beats per hour, this moon watch right here is running at 21,600 VPH, and the lift angle is 50. So I think we can leave the lift angle at what it was, the same that we had for those watches down there. Let's go ahead, hit the stop button, hit menu, and I guess we don't really need to change anything because it's going to detect it automatically, the 21,600 VPH. So actually, I guess we didn't need to touch that at all. Let's go ahead and wind this up, which is going to take a little bit of time. It's just a bunch of winding on this. I don't know how much power reserve is inside of this watch. I think it's 48 hours. I could be wrong on that. Please correct me down inside the comments section below if you know 100% for sure. But yeah, it takes me about, estimate 80 to 90 turns, or at least half turns, because it's hard to get your fingers around this dial, which is so close to the inside and inside of these crown guards, mind you, so it's just hard to turn. All right, it stopped. So that means we're at the very end here. Let's go ahead and put this one on the microphone and see what happens. Let's go ahead and hit the start button. I believe this one keeps the same time as it did when I bought it about a year ago, which I'm very happy about. Or it's not looking that way anymore, actually. So this says that this is running at plus 9 seconds per day. I just told a fib there, because when I bought this watch, it was running at plus 6 seconds a day. And now it's running at plus 9, plus 8. The beat error is within the margin of error. It says 0.1 milliseconds, which is very good. I don't know with what Omega can necessarily promise. With old Rolexes, you know, Rolex is going to promise you within 5 seconds a day. And with the newer Rolexes, it's going to be even better than that. All right, here we go. Now it's showing plus 6 seconds a day. The margin of error is still there. The parameters, this is where you can see the VPH here, where it says 21,600. This watch was serviced before I bought it, so I'm just going to wait a little bit of time on this one, maybe about a good 5 years before I send it off to Omega to have them do anything to it. This watch right here is from 1997. Okay, there we go. It's still running at plus 6. I would say that this is pretty good for what it is. Now it's getting inside the plus 5 range. I mean, you could just let it just keep running and running until you get whatever you believe is the average readout. Because, you know, when we started off, it was +9, and then it moved up to +6, and now it's at +5. The amplitude, this is nothing that I worry about. I could show you guys real quick, if you were to change the angle of this, then this is going to be something completely different. Let's turn this on its side completely. You see it started jumping around here a little bit once I turned the angle, but now that it's steady again, this is running steady. And it's still running at a steady 0.5. Now it moved up to +7. I would say that's not too bad for what this is. Let's go ahead and take this one off. We're done with that. We're going to take the Explorer 2 off the wrist. Now we do need to change the settings of this one. Let's go ahead and hit the stop button, menu. Now the Rolex lift angle is 52, and the beat rate of the Explorer 2 is going to be 28,800 beats per hour, which equals something like 8 beats per second. Now we can leave this on auto and it'll find it, but let me just show you guys real quick, just for the sake of that, we could change this to what it needs to read out at. And we just passed it. There we go, 28,800. Let's move down one, and we need to change this lift angle to exactly 52. 52 is going to be generally the number that you're going to use for most new watches. Anything from, let's say, about the 90s up. That's not always the case, but for the most part, it is going to be the case. So now that we got the beat rate and the accurate lift angle set, let's go ahead and hit the start button. And let me wind this watch just a little bit. I've kind of already wound it already, but let's just wind it just a little bit more to make sure that it's as full as it can be. I think I already know what this is going to run at. It should be -5 seconds a day. That's what it was when I first bought it and had it timed. And I believe that's what it's going to be now. Okay, let me screw down the crown really quickly. Do this behind the camera. Hold on. Let me turn it back towards me. Hang on real quick, fellas. Okay, I got that nice and tight. Rolex Explorer 2, black dial. This one is from 2008. This is the version 4 of this watch. Let's go ahead and throw it on here, and let's see what happens. You can hear that the clicking is going a lot faster than what it was before, as it is beating at 28,800 beats per hour. The beat error is very good. It reads at 0.1 milliseconds, which means that there's nothing wrong with this watch. You can see that it's running at -7, and now it went back down to -5, but generally it's going to stay at -5 seconds a day. I would prefer it to be at +5 than -5 because, you know, minus is going to make you late, whereas there's nothing wrong with being on time. So I believe this watch is going to need some servicing, but I'm going to wait until I just bought it, let's say about 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. I got a 1-year warranty on this. I want to wait close to when that 1-year warranty is running out. Then I'm going to take it in to get service with Rolex. Now it's -6. And hopefully eventually it'll run back down to -5 again. Now it's back at -5. So you guys see what it is. I knew that's what it was going to be. So the Rolex, -5. The Omega Speedmaster Professional is, I just forgot this already. This is +6. The James Bond Gruen, this is +32. And this Gruen right here with the masonry dial, this one is +16. Now, let me show you that special watch, the number 5 watch, which I'm absolutely never going to wear. It's completely shit. It broke the absolute first time that I even tried to do anything with it. This is a fake. This is a Folex. Now, this is a Folex Datejust. A friend gave this to me. I told him that I was wanting to buy a real Rolex, and I was getting beat around the bush so much at the AD that the guy said, "Look, I just got a Rolex that I'll give you for free. You don't need to worry about getting one." I'm still going to worry about getting one because I'm never going to wear this shit right here. But I thank you, my friend, for giving this one to me with these fake diamonds on the dial there, and this fake gold going around the bezel and the fake gold going around the bracelet. But let's see what this runs at, just for the hell of it. Let me wind this one up. Let's unscrew that crown. Listen to this thing winding. It just sounds so cheap. I hope my microphone is picking that up. I hope this thing stops eventually. Or do you think that the Folex is just going to go round and round? I think I'm going to make one video showing off this watch, just for the hell of it, just to have some fun. And once I'm done making that one and done video, I'm going to probably chuck this thing inside the trash or just give it back to the guy that gave it to me, because I don't want this. It just takes up space inside of my apartment, and it's trash. It's not going to make me feel good to put this thing on. I'm not one of them type of people. All right, this thing just feels like it's going to go round and round and round and round, like it's never going to stop winding. So I think that's a good enough wind. And let me go ahead and screw down the crown. Okay, here we go. This ought to be interesting because I never timed this thing. What do you think it's going to say? Let's take our bets now. The fake Rolex here with this broken bracelet. Placing my bets. I'm going to say that this is going to be, it's just a complete wild guess that I pulled out of my ass. I'm going to say plus 15 seconds a day. Make your bets right now. Now it's going on the microphone. Let's see what it is. Wow, this thing is jumping all over the place. Oh, that's not even reading. All right, let's go ahead and hit the stop button because it's saying 0 seconds and it just keeps stopping. This obviously can't be running at 28,000. Cannot be. So let's turn the beat rate to auto. We're going to leave the lift angle on 52. And yeah, let's go ahead and hit the start button again. What did I say? Plus 15? Plus 16? Plus 18? Oh, wow, look at that. That's why I wasn't reading this, because this is running at 21,000. Hold on, it's going to show up again. This one is running at 21,600 beats per minute. Sorry, beats per hour. The beat error is 0.5, which is actually pretty good. It means that this piece of crap doesn't need servicing. Not like you would take it to get it serviced anywhere. You just chuck it in the trash when it's done. It's running at plus 26 seconds a day. Now take a look at that. Now it's saying plus 7. What the hell? Look at this wave here. It just kind of shot up and then it catapulted back down. It looks like a catapult. Let's let it run for one more cycle to see what happens. Ain't no way in hell that this is plus 7 seconds. Alright, we're going to let it go a full 60 seconds. 5, 10, 15, 20. Now look at this. Now it's at negative 7 seconds. Just absolutely all over the place. From 26 to plus 7 to negative 7. All right, we're at 35 seconds. 40 seconds. Let me just put this down. 50 seconds. 55. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is that, are we calling it? Is that what we're going to say? It is? All right, that looks like the time. Negative 7 seconds. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's only 2 seconds worse than my real Rolex here. I don't believe it. Because if you remember, this one is negative 5 seconds a day. But that's not good by Rolex standards. That watch definitely needs servicing. All right, it's still at negative 7. Let's go ahead and take that off. So, we had some fun with the Timegrapher today. I keep calling it a Timegrapher because I keep thinking of the stenographer. It's called the Timegrapher. There's no O inside of there. We had a lot of fun with this thing today, and I think we can call it a night. Just really quickly, what you guys need to know about the lift angle, it's the angle that the balance passes through while interacting with the pallet fork. So you really need to know the exact lift angle to get the most accurate reading that you possibly can. For watches such as Omega and Rolex and newer watches from like the last 30 to 40 years, these things are going to be known. But for super old vintage watches, it's just going to be a complete shot in the dark. Generally, lift angles could range from 44 to 58 degrees, but for vintage watches, just kind of trust between 48 to 52 is going to be good to read those. All right, so I believe I accomplished everything that I really wanted to with this thing today. We got it turned off now. I would like to thank my benefactor, Mr. Remington Steele, for being generous enough to let me borrow this. I owe you a drink, definitely. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and have a sip of the whiskey. good stuff right here. I definitely recommend the Dewar's aged 12 years, as the price is right and the taste is great. But anyways, I think I'm going to close out with that. You guys saw how to operate it, and I could show you a little bit more with it because I'm going to have it for another week before I have to return it. But aside from that, there's not too much more that you can do with it. You can test your watches at other angles, and I like to hit all those angles and get the average for every single one, and then I guess you can kind of compile that information together to make like a real true ultimate average to represent you moving your wrist all around all day and your walking motion of swinging the wrist up and down, picking up things, writing. So you want to get the full spectrum, because nobody just walks around with a watch on their wrist like this all day long. Speaking of which, I need to put this thing back on. There we go. That looks a lot better. So nobody walks around like this all day. So obviously you need to test the other angles as well. Anyways, that's all for today. Gentlemen, salute to you wherever you may be out inside of the world. And as always, gentlemen, you guys know what to do. Keep it classy. I'm out.